occupying us, but they're staying in our houses, eating our food, sleeping in our beds, fucking our wives. They were staying in our houses. So these standing armies went too fucking far. That's why we said, okay, well, we're going to have to parse this out. We're going to have to really digest this. We're not going to have a professional standing army. That means to the rest of the world, we're going to kind of be like laughing stocks. But what we're saying is that we're all going to be part of the military. We're all going to be Minutemen. We're going to be essentially civilians who are ready to become military men in the matter of moments. We won Lexington and Concord. So I think the idea of a Minutemen would be smart. We don't want a standing army. You got a standing army, then that army will ultimately be an oppressive force against you. We don't want standing armies. That's why we have militias. That's why we have the Fifth Amendment, the Third Amendment, the Second Amendment. That's why we have Article 1, Article 2. That's why we have all those militia clauses. And then you had the War of 1812 and some other things. I want to say that the militias were really good at defense, but when it came to fighting the British, you didn't just have an army. You couldn't just clash a bunch of men with another army full of men, which to a tyrant they didn't like that. So James Madison didn't like the militia. Thomas Jefferson tried to explain how the militia was going to work. So there was a lot of confusion with the militia. To the rest of the world, if you don't have a standing army, then, I guess they think that you could just be conquered at any moment in time. At least that's according to Alexander Hamilton. So we're going to try to, split the atom here. And how are we going to split the atom? Well, we're going to have a permanent military with the people and the militia. And they'll have to be trained like they're professionals, like they're a standing army, but ultimately they stay civilians. They do their muster days. You know what happened to that too? The Industrial Revolution. People needed to go to work in the fucking factories. People were supposed to go to work in the damn farms and shit, but it was the Industrial Revolution that called for lots of people to go work in the factories. Well, we don't have time to do our little muster days bullshit. We got to sit at the fucking assembly line and push a button. And then about 1800, 1900, there was the Militia Act, and then essentially I don't know if they did they disband the militias? I don't think they banned militias. I've never heard that. But there was a Militia Act where the federal government was trying to take control of the militias. Maybe they were out of control or something. But ultimately, the militias became the National Guard. For all intents and purposes, the National Guard is our militia today. It's state-run, it's state-owned, so we don't have a people's militia except for those, 200 militias. And they're all fucking right-wing. They're all right-wing. So it'd be nice to have a rainbow militia. Wouldn't that be smart? Left-wing motherfuckers to have a goddamn rainbow militia? They want to take away our right to guns. Do you believe in any of the Bill of Rights, you piece of shit? You're trying to take away our guns because you're against our goddamn freedoms. You don't want us individual Americans to have freedoms. That's why you're against guns. You're against the entire Bill of Rights, aren't you piece of shit? Anybody who speaks up against the Second Amendment, tell me which amendment you're for, you motherfucker. You're against the Second Amendment? Okay, do you even know what the Seventh Amendment or the Eighth Amendment is, you piece of shit? What's the Fourth, Fifth, or Sixth Amendment, you son of a bitch? I support all my rights and freedoms, and these are specifically enumerated. What's the Ninth Amendment said? The Ninth Amendment says that if you don't specifically enumerate the freedoms, then they'll pretend that you don't have them. I think I have a right to self-defense. I think the Second Amendment implies that I have a right to self-defense. But guess what? The right to self-defense is not enumerated in the U.S. Constitution. If Bernie Sanders was to become president, if AOC was to become president, I don't know. I think we need somebody that's a little bit sharper. Mamdani, do we want him to become the president? Why are these fucking politicians such skinny little weaklings? Why don't we elect The Rock and then just let The Rock use his fucking common sense and judgment? We'll just write his name in. It'd be so easy for The Rock to goddamn fucking take it all. He's like the biggest man in America. So he's already got the stature. He could probably kick anybody's ass. So he's already the biggest man out here. It's like George Washington. George Washington wasn't a smart fucking guy, but he came forth and rewrote the entire Articles of Confederation. And we had a constitutional revolution because George Washington was chairing the Constitutional Convention. Oh, okay. Well, now we got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's chairing our convention. Do we smell what he's cooking? Yeah, he's cooking up a new constitution. Because he's a people's champion. He wants to make sure we're all on the same page. Make sure we all have the same rights. Make sure that we all agree on what the felonies are and what the freedoms are. Have we all agreed what the felonies and the freedoms are? No, not yet? Awesome. Fucking awesome. We've only been a republic, federated republic, for 250 years now. So there used to be muster days, now it's the National Guard. So that's incredible that our entire society was regimented to be militia. Because of the War of 1812, James Madison thought that we needed professional armies. Then you had the Militia Act. And now we have standing armies all over the place. So the anti-federalists were right. The anti-federalists were right.